In Cold Blood, the story of the wholesale murder of the Clutter family by two young men. How many copies has that book sold in its hardback and paper-covered versions?
Oh, I really don't know, but many millions.
How would you compare it with Breakfast at Tiffany's, an earlier success?
Well, they're entirely different things. One's an experiment in journalism. You see, people are always with me making this distinction between subject matter and style. What they don't understand is that what is important to me is literary experiments in style.
In Cold Blood was written by Truman Capote over the course of 6 years, and is more than several visits to Kansas. A young writer by the name of Harper accompanied him. Harper was not necessarily a daily collaborator throughout the project, but a research assistant in earlier years. She directly collaborated in the interviews of the Clutter murders with the townsfolk. She, of course, went on to write To Kill a Mockingbird, which was published in 1960, 4 years after In Cold Blood was published. The novel reflects on the moral complexity and analytical style of the human condition, primarily in a courtroom in the trial of Tom Robinson.
I had to pass her place going to and from the field every day.
Here are the first 5 sentences of In Cold Blood and To Kill a Mockingbird. The first thing that I noticed is that the opening paragraphs establish their scenes quite differently. Capote's focusing on the town's ability to blend in with rural Americana, a typical, not so different, common picture than many Americans might have experienced before of what a small town looks like. Lee opens slightly differently in that she focuses on a character, but a common experience of a child, which is Jem's broken arm, and odd specifics about the results of this accident, and it's really highlighting the different lengths of Jem's arm as well. I think what both writers do well here is they recall in the reader's memory of their own experiences, whether it be from childhood or possibly a place that they grew up, a trip that they went on, in a way that they experienced Americana before. The reliance on memory that both writers pose is a sacred one, because it not only paints the picture of the setting and the character of each book, but also establishes the setting and character physically within the reader's memory.
Winner of the Pulitzer Prize and just about every other award a book can.
In Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, he focuses on how humans should live well and what constitutes a good life. In Book VI, he discusses how memory functions as an intellectual virtue and is ultimately used to participate in a moral and intellectual life. He specifically says, memory is, therefore, neither perception nor conception, but a state or affection of one of these, conditioned by lapse of time. Aristotle highlights that memory is a constantly circulating mix of our perceived thoughts and perceived ideas of what we have experienced. This potent mixture of what memory means enforces both writers' abilities to not only call on something deeply personal to the reader, but the most personal. Nothing is more sacred than the memories that we keep, other than the ones that we are opposed to create going forward. Both authors effectively draw on pivotal periods in readers' lives, such as childhood in To Kill a Mockingbird, and In Cold Blood, evoking an image of the American South that has been familiar to American readers since childhood. Each author deepens this quality of memory through the first-person perspective, which subjugates the reader's memory and forces them inside of each work. This in turn no longer makes them a passenger viewing the story from afar, but ingrains them in their own moral dilemmas and abilities to understand the human condition.
They drank every night. And I mean drank, like famished water buffaloes. Well,